Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April Division of Adult Education monthly webinar. This session is being recorded. By participating in this session, you are consenting to the recording, retention, and use of this session. No other recording of this session is allowed. That includes any AI note-taking software. Thank you. I am now going to turn it over to Mary to introduce the topic and the presenters.
Thank you, Amanda. And can everyone hear me okay? A thumbs up, or if someone can say I'm good.
I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And good morning again, everyone. Today we have the pleasure of having some of our family literacy agencies share some of the work that they do in their community related to family literacy activities. So they'll give some context behind the activities involved in that, as well as some focus on successes and challenges of parent education and interactive literacy activities that they offer remotely in connection with in-person options. So our presenters today will be New World Association, Project of Easton, and TIU 11. And we will start with New World Association. So Amanda, forward the slide. New World Association, you have the floor.
Okay. New World Association conducts a family literacy program for families with low level of English language skills. We are happy that most of our parents are educated in their countries of origin, and we prefer to conduct ILA sessions in person settings as they provide unique, focused learning time that is often more effective and harder to replicate in remote environment. Face-to-face activities allow instructors to observe parent-child interaction more closely, provide immediate feedback and guidance, and needless to say that there is an orchestra in the bushes. If something happens, the teacher has all the materials and she can provide them to parents and children immediately. In-face interactive activities create a structured environment that support active participation and engagement in literacy activities. Next slide, please. But we all learned that the situation may change at any moment, and due to COVID, we learned to do many things remotely. And for the family literacy and other programs, we have a protocol of conducting remote ILA sessions. The families have a chance to participate in remote activities when we have extreme weather disruptions like severe snowstorms, rains or flooding, extreme temperatures that make traveling to a physical agency location unsafe. We may have infrastructure emergencies, which we actually had this year, and expecting building closure due to utility outage, power, water, fires, or construction issues. So we have to follow health and safety protocol, which is issued by regional agencies or outbreaks of contagious illnesses requiring temporary campus closures. And we normally follow School District of Philadelphia policies in this case. Accessibility and inclusively needs are the circumstances where students or instructors cannot be physically present. Like, for example, the teacher was sick and she was unable to come here, but she was completely able to conduct the class online. Next slide, please. So the families become aware about this protocol during the intake sessions, but you know that so many we have to repeat that so many times because they really realize that. But we have to make families aware of circumstances when ILA is conducted remotely, which is our protocol. We identify if family have appropriate technology and access to internet. And if not, we provide needy families with electronic devices and technical support. If they don't know how to install computer programs, we have a technical support specialist. He is also a digital literacy specialist. We assist families with obtaining internet connection if needed, and we actually help 3 people this year to have internet connection in their houses via Comcast. We also identify parents' digital skills for them to be able to participate in remote activities. And if they lack those skills, we refer adult program participants to Northstar digital training and assist them with completing assignments and assessment as needed. The beauty of this program is that it's not only digital skill, it's mastering some language skills as well. All teachers create Telegram or WhatsApp groups, for quick communication to inform or remind about a remote session. And we assist participants with downloading Zoom on their electronic devices if they don't know how to do that. So what are the advantage? I'm sorry. What are the advantage? The previous slide, please. What are the advantages of platform we use for remote ILA? We use Zoom because it's easier for our clients to use it. It provides easy communication, live interaction, flexibility in using various electronic devices. Everybody knows that we use screen sharing for literacy materials, and breakout rooms for smaller activities can be used. So the advantages of remote ILA, the process is not interrupted. And access to the services, if personal attendance is not possible, is provided. Remote ILA using digital devices help our adults and children in improving digital skills, especially adults, because the children are just participating, and increasing engagement in using interactive virtual tools that foster a better learning climate. Next slide, please. So disadvantages, that's why we prefer face-to-face. It's reduced socialization, lack of face-to-face interaction, and hands-on guidance from educators, limited immediate support and feedback. Distance learning has physical effects, which is excessive screen time can result in eye strain, inactive or passive behavior, and fatigue. Risk of distraction and reduced engagement during virtual session. Sometimes internet stops working or digital device is not active. It's very difficult for younger children because it's very difficult for them to focus on the activities. They prefer to watch cartoons, of course, and they like it very much, but sometimes it's very difficult for them to focus for a longer time. Challenges in accessing reliable high-speed internet, along with varying levels of technology among participants. And as I said, sudden internet interruptions may happen. How we prepare our families for remote ILA? So the instruction divide the participants into 2 groups according to children ages. The younger kids with 4 to 6 year old. The session B is for families with children 7 to 9 years old. Both subsessions last for 1 hour. At parent education sessions, parents practice reading, asking questions, retelling sequences, stories, events, and other activities that will be practiced in ILA session. That's why it's important that our teachers stay connected with each other and our parenting session precedes ILA session for the families to be better prepared. And the families get learning materials before ILA session. Can be given in a printed form and or sent via internet, via email. Okay. So today I would like to, unfortunately, I'm not a teacher, I'm just an administrator, and I would prefer my teachers to do this presentation, but all of them are busy with classes, and it's my responsibility now. And one of the examples we want to show you, it's like our recent remote ILA session with the book, The Fly Who Flew to Space by Lauren Sanchez. Like it was very important to do it because, you know, the space exploration is very important. And recently we have a great event in space exploration for so many years. So everybody talks about that. And that's why we choose this book, The Fly Who Flew to Space. Next slide, please. So how did the teacher do that? She presented vocabulary activities that will be learned and used in the practicing reading and speaking skills. Fly, space, rocket, planet, travel, astronaut, parachute, and explore. How she did it, she showed pictures and words on a shared screen, and the children were asked to repeat the words and match them with the pictures. And then the children were asked to use the words and the sentences of their own orally. The instructor provided support as necessary, like the rocket goes to space, Earth is a planet, I like to travel, astronauts flew to the moon, and so on. Next slide, please. Purpose and skill practice, like we plan our interactive literacy activities, like every English language activities, dividing it into before doing, while doing, and after doing it. Like, and before reading activities, she practiced picture work. The purpose of this activity was to activate prior knowledge and build vocabulary, practice observation, prediction, and speaking skills. The parents were asked, and children were asked to look at the pictures in the book before readings, and parents asked questions such as, what do you see in the picture? What do you think the fly is going? What do you think will happen in the story? And what I can say that our children show sometimes better language skills than the parents, and they help them to build questions. Next, please. Acting like a fly. The purpose and skills to develop in these activities make the story fun and interactive and develop listening and acting skills. Children pretended to fly like a character in the story, and the instructor says, fly to the rocket, fly to the planet. Okay, some younger children like, action more than anything else, and they were involved in this way. Next slide, please. The next step was modeling reading. The instructor wore a costume of Lynn the Fly. Actually, it was just a cap, like to make the story more attractive, interactive, and engaging. This strategy helps children capture children's attention and encourages participation and makes reading experience more memorable. The ILA instructor read some pages aloud and showed parents how to engage children during reading by using various voices, tone, and facial expressions of the character voices, asking questions and pointing to the pictures and words. The instructor pointed to the words and the pictures while reading and pauses to ask questions. Like, what do you see in this picture? What do you think will happen next? How do you think the character feels? Next. Then there was a shared reading, and the purpose and skills to practice were to improve reading and listening comprehension skills, practice discussion and critical thinking. Parents and children read the stories together. Families take turns. And of course, it's like impossible when they will read all together in remote mode. Then instructor pauses and invited parents to ask questions why they were reading. Why did the fly want to go to space? What challenges did the fly face? How did the fly solve the problem? Next slide, please. Draw and tell. Purpose and skills practice, improving reading comprehension and speaking, and encourage creativity and story recall. Children like to draw pictures, and especially younger one, children draw their favorite scene from the story, and parents are exposed to the sample of questions on the shared screen and practice asking questions. What is happening in your picture? Why did you choose this part? And of course, parents were encouraged to praise children all the time. Next slide, please. Then we came to the retelling the story, and the purpose of that was to strengthen children's speaking skills and sequences. And the parents asked children to retell the story using prompts, which were shared on the screen, like what happens next? First, what happens then? Next, and finally. Next slide, please. Imagine your own space adventure. The purpose of this activity is to develop imagination and language skills. Parent ask children question, and we often use a shared screen because our parents are limited with English language. And sometimes, all the time, it's very important to have this prompt on the screen. If you could fly to space, where would you go? What would you see? Okay, so different questions. Answers. Children has a lot of fantasy. Right to Flynn, the fly activity, which was offered to 7 to 9 year old children. Kids were encouraged to develop their relationships with the book character and to write letters to Flynn the Fly about their own dreams using closed sentences and the words from the box, like astronaut, explorer, parachute, planets, rocket, and the children were to complete this letter to send it to Flynn. They had to name their have to put their names to say in what grade they are, in what school, who they want to become, and then they have to choose the word astronaut and explore space and so on and so forth. And then they completed with making friendship. Parents' reflection on ILA. The instructor asked parents to share by answering the following question. What did you practice today with your child? What did your child enjoy most today? Was your child interested and active all the time? Why or why not? Will you speak with your child about traveling to and exploration of other places? In this case, we teach them to continue to develop their teaching. And finishing remote ILA, the instructor allows time for questions and answers and expresses appreciation to families for participation in the session. They say, I'm not a teacher, that what I was provided by my teachers, and they helped me to create this presentation. And I'm very happy that the children liked it. That's it.
Sorry,
Thank
couldn't
you.
get the mic to work. Thank you so much, New World Association. This was excellent. A lot of accolades through some of the reactions. So we have Project of Easton up next. You have the floor.
Thanks, Mary. Today, we're just going to walk through our family literacy model at Project of Easton and how we take that whole family approach to learning. Our goal is not just to support the adult learner or just the child, but to strengthen the entire family unit. So learning continues beyond the classroom and into the home. Next slide, please. At the core of our model is integration and alignment. Each family works with a family literacy case manager. Our early childhood education lead teacher is also their case manager. And upon intake and orientation, she creates an individual service plan or an ISP. What makes this model work so well is we have the adult education component. We are fortunate enough to have our early childhood education as part of our program. So we have it completely connected with our parent education as well as our interactive literacy activities and all of our family literacy supports. We are all working together, not separately. We also communicate and meet weekly just to ensure communication, shared goals, and coordinate support for each family. Next slide, please. The ISP is really the roadmap for each family's success. It includes household needs and barriers, goals for both children and caregivers, and connections to services like housing, employment, and healthcare. This allows us to provide a wraparound support, not just the education component. And we're not only tracking adult progress, we're tracking the family progress as a whole. Next slide, please. This is an example of our individualized service plan. Sorry, it's tiny. This we take track from day of enrollment and we follow through. If the person has high barriers, we might be checking on them weekly. If not, we're checking on them at least monthly to check in with them. You're going to see this comes into play when we get involved with the remote ILA as well as the remote parent ed, because we work with this with some home visits as well if needed. Next slide, please. So our parent education is one of our strongest components and one of our most impactful components of our program. Parents participate daily in daily sessions focused on child development, positive parenting, early literacy, and school readiness. What makes this so effective is that learning is immediately applied at home through reflection sheets and real life practice. We meet every single day for parent education. We are 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. Parent drops off their child in our early learning center at 9:30. Then parent goes to academic classes, whether it be ESL or GED. They are in academic classes from 9:30 to 12:30. At 12:30, they take about a 5-minute break and they go into the parent education class. Parent education class is an hour each day. We work with them on the NCFL lessons, as well as many other areas that the parents are needing, that we're seeing they're needing. So we're a huge part of that. Remote parent education becomes a little bit more of a challenge, but we're making it work. Some of the successes is one of the biggest success we have seen in our remote parent education is increased access and flexibility. We've created Zoom links because we have Zoom links already for their because we are high flex, we have many that are already on for their academic class. So they stay on that Zoom link, just are automatically put into the parent education. We have Google Classroom set up that have the parent education papers in them, whether they be links, sheets, activities, whatever we're working on. Families are able to join us and participate. For example, we had Penn State nutrition class is participating with us right now every week. And parents who are on remote would not have been able to participate in that. But because we offer the remote, they can participate in that. Parents may not have been able to attend. So that flexibility allows us to expand access to community partnerships, reach more families, keep parents engaged. We have seen with parents who are remote parent ed, greater parent independence and confidence, more authentic. They're on their home turf. Their learning is happening in their home environment. And some parents are becoming more comfortable participating virtually than they would have in person if they're experiencing anxiety issues or things like that. However, there are challenges. At the same time, like New World said, we don't really promote the remote, but if it is necessary, we will do it. Digital literacy barriers. We have to work very closely with them in a workshop to make sure they know how to use Zoom, know how to use Google Classroom, know how to share screen and such. Again, Zoom fatigue is real. They've just had 3 hours of academic classes. Now they're having an extra hour of parent ed, so that can come in. We have some difficulty. The real difficulty I feel is that building of peer relationships and group connections. They're sitting at home, they're not sitting in the group. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is our parents sit in a group and they form a lifetime lasting experience that they rely on each other. They use each other to lean on. They go to walks together with their children and they form this bond that is much more difficult when you're at home and on a screen. It's harder to read their engagement. Are they fully engaged in it? Is there that buy-in? We have to constantly make sure they're facilitating discussion and really constantly in constant participation. And we struggle with the follow-up and the engagement strategies, and they need more individualized support, which is where that case management role becomes very key. Our family literacy case manager can go do a home visit, make sure that they're connecting, make sure that they're getting what they need because they're not right there in the classroom. Next slide, please. Every week, every Monday and every Thursday, we do a parent education reflection sheet. We keep it simple for our lower level ESL students. So we just asked them, what resources did you look at besides the one that we're working on? Or did you look even deeper into that? What activities did you do at home this week that connected to parent ed classes? And what did you learn from it? Next slide, please. ILA is a little different. This year, so far, we have had 1 or 2 that have been remote for parent ed. ILA is much more difficult, but we're trying to make it work. Our ILA is a cornerstone of family engagement. We much prefer when it's on site, but as New World said, during COVID, we learned how to get creative, and now we're just continuing with that creativity. Throughout ILA, parents and children engaged in shared literacy activities. These shared activities are designed to build vocabulary, strengthen reading skills, create digital literacy routines at home. And families also complete those same reflection sheets. ILA is daily, Monday through Thursday. So they have 9:30 to 12:30, they are in classes. At 12:30, they go to parent ed for an hour, and then they go into our early childhood education center. And Monday through Thursday from 1:30 to 2 o'clock, they have on-site ILA, unless we have to work with remote. ILA is offered on-site, remote is via Zoom. So some successes of remote, I would say one of the biggest successes is that parent is learning very quickly that they are their child's first teacher. They are learning that this really can happen at home. So it's very authentic. Instead of staff leading everything, the parent is leading everything. The parent is facilitating the activities. The parent is reading to their children. The parent is guiding in real life. When they're down on site, they are doing that, but they have us right there with them to support and model. When they are on Zoom, they don't have as easy access as that. We also gain something really valuable. We get to see a window into their home. We see their family interactions. We understand real barriers that they're having and support a more meaningful way. Again, this is absolutely when we get the home visits in and we discuss. Additional strategies include stronger parent-child bonding. We see that. More consistent home literacy routines. The whole idea of ILA is that they're learning how to bring it home. If they're already home, it's an easier transition. But huge challenges that we've been working with is the biggest challenge is engaging that young child virtually, keeping that child entertained on a screen. As New World said, they'd rather be watching a cartoon is sometimes definitely a struggle. They have limited attention spans and difficulty interacting through a screen. Another challenges include that we had to face were limited access to books and materials. Some people just didn't have that in their houses. Less structure compared to in person. We can say to them, okay, now we're going to do this and now we're going to this. It's more difficult when it is remote. Parents feel unsure, or if they're lacking confidence, that's not going to be helped as easily remotely. Also, it's harder to demonstrate those literacy techniques via Zoom, maintain consistency, or even accurately track engagement beyond their self-reporting. So we adapted. We started more home visits, and in the home visits, we brought the activities to them. We make sure that the activities are really centered toward the person who is remote, that we can make sure that they have all of the activities needed in their home as well. That home visit helps that. Simplify the activities, use everyday household items, coach parents directly, and help and support them. It's been a struggle, but we're definitely learning from it. Next slide, please. Again, every Monday and Thursday, we do a home reflection ILA sheet. What are you doing at home? What has worked at home? What activities did you try? The more they do these, the more they realize that the smallest activities are ILA activities, and they're gaining the idea that literacy is happening everywhere. They write a brief summary how it went, and what books did you read with your child this week? Next slide, please. Because we are fortunate enough to have our early childhood education center there, we are also, another thing that we are fortunate with is a huge partnership with Easton Area School District. So we really connect with them and partner with them for kindergarten readiness and getting them transitioning into the Easton Area School District. So our early childhood education program fully supports school readiness skills, social emotional development, early literacy and numeracy, as well as us aligning very closely with Easton Area School District to ensure children are prepared for kindergarten and long-term success. Next slide, please. We also work with those remote and the ones who are struggling with getting these things in. We're strengthening our engagement through family fun nights. Family fun nights, we do 3 to 4 per year. It lets that remote student come in, meet the people that they see only on screen. The children start connecting with each other, and it is all literacy-based activities, but it's opportunities for families to learn, connect together, eat pizza, have fun. We also do some other activities that strengthen that engagement. We do library once a month with the Easton Area Library. We go there for story time, and the children and parents walk together up. The remote, if they can, meet us there, and we can have that. We also have Cops and Kids monthly. We have a great partnership with Cops and Kids. They do a story time and a literacy activity, and each child in that family, even if the child isn't there for that day, each child in the family walks away with 5 free books. So by the end of the year, you could have 60 books per child. So we are building that home library up as they're working with this. We also do Book and Puppet, which is a business in downtown Easton that they do story time once a month as well as a puppet show. We're getting them out into the community. We're connecting them to the community. These agencies also do Saturday activities, which gets the parents to then start going out on their own. We do nutrition classes. Penn State Nutrition comes every quarter. So they do an 8-week program. If they can come in and they can't do remote and they can't, we will do whichever way we need to. We have had one person, as I stated earlier, that did a Zoom for the Penn State Nutrition just to get that in. We also have a food pantry. So once a month, we allow our mommies to do a food shopping trip without children so that then they can also look at the nutrition side of things and have that opportunity. Even during remote periods, we work hard to maintain that connection and consistency, though it requires a lot more creativity and a lot more outreach. Next slide. Our program and our work is really grounded in collaboration. Weekly team meetings ensure alignment, communication, coordinated support. This is what really truly allows us to serve the whole family. And last slide. Oh, I think that is the last slide. Overall, our family literacy model is about empowerment, empowering parents, strengthening families, building sustainable habits. What we learned through remote parent ed and ILA is that while there are challenges, it also pushed us to increase access. It pushed us to deepen family engagement and shift toward a more family-led model of learning. Moving forward, we're still learning those lessons to strengthen the bonds to both our in-person and remote programming. And that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Erin. And if I can ask the presenters if they can put their email address in the chat for the field in case anyone has questions about some of the things you discussed about your family literacy program, that would be great. And also something Erin mentioned during her presentation in CFL Resources, that is the National Center for Families Learning. So they offer free tools and resources as well as webinars that provide information on themes and other tools that you can use within the family literacy program, based on working with children specifically, or some things that you can help in the parent education sector. So for our family literacy programs, if you haven't checked that out already, that is the website if you're looking for fresh ideas. And lastly, we have TIU 11. You have the floor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm Tiffany. This is Keith. We're going to do the presentation today. And yes, Tuscarora Intermediate Unit 11, we have a family literacy program in Mifflin County Correctional Facility. And if you could go to the next slide, please. So it's just to get our team, there's myself and Keith. Chuck does our digital literacy. He's our digital literacy specialist. We have Rick, who is an ABE educator. Bethany, she's our data quality specialist. I do ILA, and Keith does parenting.
And we do it in a county jail setting, which makes it interesting and fun.
Next slide. Yeah. So why county jails?
County jails matter. With family literacy, when we did this, there are programs like this in state and federal prisons. People are there for a long time. They're far away from their families, and this is much more relevant because the parents will be getting out soon. One of our clients was around the block from the building, so they're able to see their kids in visits as well as connect that way, and they're going to get out short, so it connects them faster. Parents keep their bond. Children's love receiving educational packets and books, which we'll talk about. And now their jail visits, whether in-house or Zoom, have meaning and relevancy, and it's been a wonderful thing to watch.
Mm-hmm. Next slide, please.
Okay, our partnerships and relationships matter. I sent this out to Center County Jail first. I was teaching a little class, and I also included Mifflin County, and I thought Center County might jump onto it. It's a university town. They weren't interested. Mifflin County was, and we've had a long relationship with them with GD classes and some job classes. So they trusted us, and their counselors are also coming from a parenting family background. So social working. So they knew a lot about what we were doing. So there's a trust set up. Once they're on board, they're essential because they tell us what we can do. They tell us what we cannot do. And in the jail setting, that works. They allowed us to have laptops. They allowed us to Zoom. Wonderful things that work, and it has been working. We periodically check in with them. When we have new ideas, they say, this will be okay, this isn't. And as long as we do that, it all seems to work. And they've been champions. They've been great. I'm going down my list. I don't want to talk all the time. Laurie, Sarah, Elisa, the Center for the Book in Penn State, and Baker's Dozen people, when we were starting, they were absolutely behind us. They supported us. They provided us with titles of books that were really wonderful. We were able to help them. I'll talk about that later and what they do, but they couldn't have been better champions. And the last one I have is Tiffany's Learning Packets, which you'll see later on. Tiffany doesn't brag, but I'll brag for her. We have wonderful packets that go to the children, and it just turns Isla into a great thing. Next, please.
So how does it work? So we each go into the jail basically independently. Keith has Monday afternoon parenting class. They learn the parents and caregivers and grandparents, they learn skills needed to support their children's education and development. They meet with Rick, who is our adult education teacher, on typically Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do interactive literacy activities. So a day and time is set up to do a Zoom visit, and we have to coordinate with the caregiver and the child who is what we say on the outside, and then coordinate with the staff at the correctional facility to have a room available for the inmate to connect. So parents, they talk, they read books, they help with homework, they encourage children, and we're all doing this using what I call virtual augmented proximity, because like this presentation right now, we're kind of all on a FaceTime type of thing. So students also enjoy our paper-based supplemental distance learning packets. They seem to have a lot of time on their hands. So they get to learn on their own. Next slide, please.
Challenges. It is a jail setting. We are locked into their schedule. If something's not clicking or there's a problem, sometimes clients aren't allowed to come see us, and that could be as simple as they had to lock down someone sick in the dorm, in the cell block. I mean, there are things happening. It's a jail setting, and sometimes they have court meetings or things like that. So that pops up. The outside caregiver is huge. Connecting with that person, they have to be reliable, and setting up Zooms is the magic trick. Sometimes the outside people have super busy lives and they don't realize, a 4:00 appointment on a Tuesday is everything to an inside person, parent. So connecting, and we've gotten really good at it with the caregivers on the outside, and then that works. The ECE attendance, counties have different forms of early childhood programs. Mifflin County Jail is more than just Mifflin County. We have Huntington sometimes, we'll have Juniata sometimes, we'll have someone pop in here, there. So there's
Dolphin.
Yeah, so most of Mifflin County, but it happens that way sometimes. And then the Siri is not recognized as virtual. You want to speak more on this one?
That's
Go.
me. A Siri is a great tool for measuring. I found it challenging because it doesn't recognize that virtual proximity. The book was released in 2007. It hasn't been updated. The challenge with that is that I contacted the publisher, and unfortunately the author had passed away, so there will not be an updated one, according to the publisher. So I just tend to have a little bit of issue with that. We always have to mark that 0 because the child cannot be close physically with the adult, although I have to say the readings of book readings, they are terrific.
And they'll lean right into the computer, which is, we smile. Technology has changed and Siri hasn't, but it will.
And the kids are so attentive though too. I know you found challenges in other programs. It's different, I think, when a parent is on one end and the child's on the other, and the child then can see the parent like we are doing right now. And the children lean in, and the books go very close to the camera, and there's pointing going on and talking, and it's a wonderful thing. So.
I don't want to talk too much today, but the other nice thing that happens is young kids today, very young kids, it is normal to meet this way. And so there's no stigma involved, as opposed to a when you go to a jail, it's a scary place and there's glass and things. I didn't see that coming, but the meetings have become, I call it normalizing in an abnormal place. And so the parents and the children have really nice visits, and it just seems to work. I didn't see that coming when we did it, but it's taken away the stigma and the scary. Next, please. I'll jump in. Yeah, our first class, I think we got lucky. We had a group of men. Some of them had been through state prison, so they knew a lot of things that we didn't know. We were setting things up, and they helped us set it up. They worked really well together. Many of them were Spanish culture. Some were extremely Spanish as their language. So it was a really fun multicultural group. These dads were super interested in helping, and some of them were really sharp and knew how to set up best practices and helped us. We listened to them and they did it. The first class was very empowering. They all worked together. The jail loved us because everyone loved coming to the class, so behavior was great on the parent side of things. Everyone worked together, and then it was the quote I put in is, I can't imagine what I would do if I was the only English speaker in the Spanish jail. Like, so there was a lot of empathy going on. They were great. And the last one, we smiled because Center for Books, the latest trend were stories without words, and we all talk about that.
There's a book, The Fisherman and the Whale.
Yeah.
It was a very popular one.
But to me, it's like silent movies. You can reach all populations. So to see Spanish speakers lovingly tell these stories in their language to their children was very interesting. And it was just sweet, and it worked. So I like stories without words now. Next, please.
So yeah, caregiver leadership activities. Keith had set up there too with Pennsylvania Center for the Book and Baker's Dozen Books, and he had criteria where the books were read and the parents would do a survey and give their feedback.
They became book reviewers, and it was a population. This Penn State was very interested that we had different parents than what they're used to, and their perspectives were something they didn't get to hear. So we turned our classes, and they still do this. We have book reviews, so they review the books, and it was interesting because the men were so protective, like they didn't like dangerous things in the books. They were so protective because they know consequences. And there were other things that we noticed that was like, I'm trying to remember, just they were really over parenting in a sweet, sweet way. So that was nice. And for Penn State, the Center for the Book, they were getting reviews from a perspective they didn't see. And it kind of clicked that way. Down here, we think the world of Penn State, the Center for the Book, for helping us. Laurie's one of ours. She helped us too. They showed us like great titles, and that was wonderful. And our students don't usually have nice things, so they really noticed the high quality books and how great they were, and they really appreciated them. They took care of the books lovingly on our end inside, and their children at home got beautiful books. They noticed the difference. They really did.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing cheap. It was great. And I wanted to thank Penn State for that. And I think that's it.
Well, one of the books too is This Is Not My Hat, and it was an interesting one. It got some mixed reviews, of course, with individuals that are incarcerated. But yes, next slide, please. So leadership and activities too, ILAs. Incarcerated parents bond with their children during the video visits. We see that all the time. ILA is typically done 20 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on the age of the child, but some of our Zoom video visits have gone almost an hour. Like the older children sometimes need help with homework and things. So we have that ability to kind of extend it a little bit longer.
We're seeing really nice things. I wondered what we would see when we were connecting, and we're seeing really great kids and really great parents. They're very resilient. The kids are bright for the most part, real sharp, and the meetings get into things too, where for the parents, did you do your homework? How's school going? How was lunch? So they do really wonderful parenting, as well as they're able to connect and keep it connected, which we enjoy. That I didn't see that coming, but it's pretty encouraging to see that. They're super kids and they're getting good grades.
And then the video book reading. So we also allow parents to record themselves reading books to their kids. It's been very popular, and especially those going to state correctional institutions, those SCIs. They're going to be gone for a while. They want to have something that their child can watch over and over. And then some of the outcomes with leadership, our parents, we see them successfully using their skills learned in classes. Some of our students become librarians in the correctional facility. One was a chef, laundry workers, block trustee, and then we've also had some that were able to do work release. So we see that.
Good. Next, please. This one surprised me the first time we did it, but now we know what we're doing. The men were mad at me because we just got them. I didn't really give them notice because we couldn't figure out how to do notice. So it was one of these, it was like a surprise beginning. And they were mad at me because they didn't get their hair done. They didn't look good. They didn't want to look tired and jaily. They wanted to look good. And I didn't see it coming. So now I know. They also didn't want the background. So we fixed that right away to turn it into children's library, not cinder block jail. So they were very proud and they were very aware, and they taught me a lot. And the recording process, it was like Steven Spielberg. They definitely, we were quiet and respectful and supportive and good job. And I just laughed because I'm like, what's going on? But I just watched. And they're super, as a general rule, they're super natural storytellers. They're oral learners. They're excellent narrators. They're really super parents. They're fun, and they're bold and creative. And so that was exciting to watch too. So it's been fun.
So yeah, the children's library was really, there's shelves in the back, and instead of having like a cinder block wall, we would put up children's books behind them. So it kind of looked, less like a jail. Yeah, if you could go to the next slide, please.
They did. The packets were home. We can discuss. I guess they're coming. Will be next. No, next one. Tiffany makes these wonderful activities and packets that we send to the families. They usually have the book as a theme. The activities are based around the theme. You can talk about that in a little bit. And the parents now, when they meet, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's through Isla, they have themes to talk about. There's no uncomfortable silences. The children love the books. Like this one young boy, I remember he was 5 and he didn't get his on time. Like it comes by the mail, and he was checking on me. He's like, he made me promise that it was coming. It was like Santa. He loved it so much. So they're really wonderful. They're really appreciated, and the themes build on the books.
Yeah, and connecting to home too, not only do we have our Zoom video visits, but then families themselves, they do extra visits sometimes at the facility. They have their children and their families come in, they can see each other through the glass. That doesn't cost anything. They just have to coordinate it. But then families themselves sometimes pay for the extra visits, which are additional Zoom video visits. So yeah, we capture those too on reflection sheets. So that really makes it nice. And they do connect. Keith has noticed too, they connect at night, even reading books.
Yeah.
And
bedtime.
Yeah, it's really great. We also, just with this connecting to Zoom too, we also assist the caregivers with downloading Zoom on their devices too, because we've had some that said, I can't connect to you. I don't know how it works. So we have them either come in and we help them with that. They come to our career link here, or we talk to them on the phone and we connect them through that. So
next slide, you'll see what a packet looks like.
So yeah, every week we send out a book and activities. So, and then we have kind of a guide that goes with it, like this is your book. And I give little facts like children that are read to from birth to 5 hear a million more words than children who are not read to. So like I give those little factoids and put the reference from where I found that. And then we send out these activities. And then what's interesting or fun is that the books that the caregivers and the children get, we are allowed to take that book into the facility. So then the child has the book, the parent has the book, and that's when the reading really takes place and the learning.
Good. We're almost done. Next. Continuing caregiver leadership, we got a small grant, which we hope will continue on or we'll add to it somehow, where we provide backpacks for parents that are getting out. It's an incentive, but also they come to the Career Link, which is a walk down the street from the facility. We connect with them in the Career Link. They're able to get a backpack, which gives them about 2 weeks of survival and dignity so they can job search and things like that. And while at the Career Link, we connect them to different programs, whether it's ABE, EARN, the Career Link job site. So that works out well. Backpacks have gone over really well for the men and the women. We also have students that they work closely with the kids and they start working with the other parents in ABE. They're turning into like helpers and aides, and that works. You can continue.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. He said it all.
Okay.
Really. So good.
Next slide. Whoop.
Yeah, our last slide is just resources and questions. Our contact information is there. I can also put it in the chat if you'd like it. But yeah, if you have any questions for us, you can send them our way, or even any comments.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience and all of the structure you do with this unique approach to family literacy in the correctional facility. Just quickly, because we have 3 minutes left in the webinar, a couple things that are in, or a few things rather, that are in the chat. I posted the ASIRI assessment that TIU 11 mentioned in their presentation. Just for context, that is the assessment tool used by our family literacy programs to measure the behaviors and interaction when a parent and child reads together. So all of the agencies do proctor that test for all of the for the families mainly with children 3 to 5 years old. Some resources that were posted in the chat: Unite for Literacy, as well as PA Book from Penn State, The Baker's Dozen. So those resources have been posted for some reading materials that you can access. Dawn Hannah mentioned that she loved that the caregivers on the inside have the opportunity to take the lead as reviewers. Well done. And there are a few more accolades in the chat if you would like to read it by your peers. Also, Tiffany has shared both of her and Keith's email information if you would like to reach out to them, and again, more accolades in the chat. So thank you to all our presenters for presenting. All of you have unique ways of presenting your family literacy program, but the theme is making sure that the parent is their child's first teacher. So thank you for all the work that you are doing. And if you have any questions for the presenters, again, their information is in the chat and you can reach out to them. Amanda, I'm not sure if you have any final comments before we end the webinar.
Just thank you to New World Association, Project of Easton, and Tuscarora IU 11 Family Literacy Programs for presenting. We don't have a lot on family literacy, and I think what you presented today was wonderful. So thank you all very much. And to everyone, I hope you stay comfortable on this June feeling day. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.